The law of acquiring wealth. The right way to acquire wealth. Law of balance and apportionment. Part 1. The philosophy and reality of wealth. Wealth plays an important role in human life. It is not only a source of food and clothing, but can also be the basis of respect, relationships, and comfort. But wealth is not an end in itself, but a means. The real goal is to create a balance in life, to fulfill your needs, to be of service to others, and to use your wealth for the good of humanity. It is an immutable law that wealth always comes to those who take care of it and value it. Those who keep wealth only by counting, they can never be prosperous. On the contrary, the people who share their wealth are the real rich and contented people. This principle has been repeatedly explained in the Quran that whatever is given to a person is a trust. It is said in Surah Al-Hadid, "Whatever you have is going to end, and what is with Allah is going to remain." That is, wealth is also temporary. The real test is how we spend it. The example of Hazrat Usman Ghani is in front of us. He was one of the greatest businessmen in the world, but his wealth always served the Ummah. Be it the expansion of Masjid Nabawi or donating to the army during the Battle of Tabuk, Hazrat Uthman was never stingy in sharing his wealth. The result was that he was not only called the richest man in history, but also got the nickname Rich. Part 2. The law of wealth sharing and practical examples. Wealth grows by sharing. It is a fact that sharing never diminishes wealth, but increases it. This law is not only religious, but also scientifically and psychologically correct. Psychologists say that when a person spends on others, chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin are released in the brain, which gives a person happiness and comfort. That's why, after giving charity or helping someone, a person feels light and calm inside. For example, if a person spends only $50 instead of eating an expensive meal of $500 and gives the remaining $450 to a poor family, he not only satisfies his own hunger, but also brings joy to the hearts of others. This happiness and peace are the real wealth, which cannot be matched by a bank balance. Maladaptive behaviors, hoarding and hiding. Some people just keep the wealth wrapped up. They think to collect as much as possible so that it will be useful tomorrow, but it is against the law. There are many people in history who came to immense wealth, but because they were miserly and greedy, their wealth was either taken away or wasted. Right attitudes, justice and generosity. On the other side are those who share their wealth fairly. They give rights to their parents, wives, children, employees, neighbors, and the poor. These are the people who are actually prosperous. In the life of Hazrat Uthman and other companions, this principle is clear, that wealth increases only by sharing. Part 3. The relationship between wealth and society. Wealth is not only a personal matter of an individual, but affects the entire society. If one person shares his wealth, the effects reach out to family, friends, neighbors, and the entire city. Examples of companies and states. If a company focuses only on making profits and does not care about its employees or the environment, it will not be successful for long. But companies that also invest in the well-being of their region grow more sustainably. Bill Gates, for example, devotes a large portion of his wealth to philanthropic causes, resulting in him not only being one of the richest people in the world, but also one of the most respected. Similarly, states that spend on the people become prosperous and developed. Scandinavian countries are a living example of this, where the government spends on the health, education, and welfare of its people. The result is that their economy is also strong, and the people are also satisfied. Part 4. Wealth and inner peace. Real wealth is not just paper notes, but inner peace. When one earns and spends justly, one has peace of mind. People who hide wealth are always in fear and anxiety, but those who share sleep peacefully. This comfort is what makes wealth a blessing. Here is a small example. At home, when a mother cooks, she first feeds the children, then the husband, and finally herself. This is the principle of justice and sharing. It keeps the house prosperous. If the mother eats herself first and gives less to others, there is no happiness left in the house. Conclusion. Action plan. A few small steps for the reader. 1. Spend a percentage of your income on others daily or monthly. 2. Whenever you shop, see if you really need such expensive shoes or clothes. If not, spend the savings on someone in need. 3. Sit down with your family and decide how much of the household income to give to the poor. 4. Always keep the intention clear, because the real wealth is the intention and peace of the heart. Remember, wealth is not reduced by sharing. It is the biggest secret of growth. Wealth grows only by sharing and caring. If the wealth is squandered, indulgent or showy, the wealth gets angry and gets out of hand. Examples from history and modern times: lottery winners, singers, athletes, etc. Inner peace versus outward revelers. Practical principles for managing and growing wealth. Actual balance of wealth. Wealth increased by sharing, and wealth decreased by waste. Part 1. The nature of wealth and the test of man. Wealth is a power, but not everyone has the same power. Some get a lot, some less, and some apparently none at all. But the real test with wealth is not how much there is, but how we manage it and where we spend it. It is the principle of the universe that whoever values wealth, more is given to him, and whoever squanders it, it is taken away from him. The Quran says, "If you are grateful, I will give you more, and if you are ungrateful, my punishment is severe." Abraham 7. Gratitude for wealth is not just in words, but in action, spending justly, giving due to others, and avoiding wasteful spending. Part 2. Wealth from sharing. 1. The cosmic principle of sharing. When we share our wealth with others, this wealth comes back many times over. This is not only a religious teaching, but also a social reality. If a person gives a small portion of his income to someone in need, not only does his heart find peace, but he also keeps the flow of his wealth open. Hazrat Uthman's example is the brightest. He had immense wealth, but he was never stingy. He bought land for the expansion of the Prophet's mosque, donated thousands of camels in the Battle of Tabuk, and repeatedly saved the people of Medina from famine. Did their wealth decrease? No, but it continued to grow, and to this day he is known by the title of Ghani. 2. Scientific and psychological aspects. Psychologists say that people who share are happier. According to the Harvard Happiness Study, people who spend a portion of their income on others are happier and more satisfied than those who spend only on themselves. Part 3. Extravagance and aversion to wealth. 1. An end to extravagance. As wealth grows by sharing, so wasteful spending destroys wealth. Wealth stays with a man as long as he respects it. If someone squanders it in debauchery, drunkenness, gambling, or ostentation, wealth becomes resentful and eventually slips out of hand. 2. Example of lottery winners. There are thousands of examples in the world where people have won crores of rupees from lottery, but because he was not conscious of managing wealth, he became poor again within a few years. Some blew all the money on drunkenness, some on frivolous parties, and some on pointless pretensions. The result? It came to pass that wealth eluded him, and his life became even more miserable than before. 3. Example of singers and players. We see many famous singers or sportspersons earn enormous wealth in the early stages of their careers. But since they cannot manage their earnings, they are lost in luxury. After a few years, the same people are in debt. The real reason is that they did not understand the balance of wealth. Part 4. Practical Principles of Wealth Management. 1. Spend judiciously. Be sure to give the right to parents, wife, children, relatives, employees, and the needy. 2. Avoid extravagance. Control wants. Understand the difference between need and want. 3. Gain knowledge and awareness. Those who learn the wisdom of managing wealth are the ones who keep it. 4. Invest in the service of the people. Spend the wealth in the service of humanity. This is the real investment. 5. Ask, will this expense give me peace of mind? If the spending is just for show or temporary pleasure, then stop. Part 5. Wealth and inner peace. It are a fact that wealth brings happiness only as long as it is in balance. If a person spends everything on himself, he gets temporary happiness, but emptiness remains inside. But when the same person spends on others, there is a peaceful happiness that cannot be found with paper notes of wealth. This is why sharers are always satisfied and spendthrifts are always restless. Result: the decision is in the hands of the reader. Wealth is a trust. It can honor and humiliate a person. It may increase or decrease. The only decision is how we handle it. If we share, do justice, and care for others, wealth will always be with us. But if we squander it in luxury, squander it in ostentation, then the wealth will fade away and eventually slip out of our hands. Remember, wealth is actually a test. The one who passes it by sharing it is the real success, and the one who loses it and fails, he is deprived in both this world and the hereafter. Wealth always increases by paying the rights of the rightful L, and by killing the rights of the rightful and sharing wastefully. By showing off, or by using wealth for power to oppress someone, wealth decreases and disappears. If you want to be rich and want to be prosperous, then you should revise this chapter and make your own. Learn to balance your habits and keep this balance with you for a long time. After some time, happiness will return to you, and wealth will also return to you. I have given you many examples. Further, you should also research and follow this law. It doesn't go away, and when it goes slowly, and you don't even know that it is gone. Never take the wealth with you. It's not that you will have a lot of wealth, then you will fulfill the rights of the people. If you want a good deed for yourself, then do a good deed for others. Create ease for it. And nowadays, ease is mostly solved with money. So give financial assistance to people and expenses in such a way that no one's rights are lost, such as family members, laborers, relatives. Solve it. Then you will see that you will have abundance of blessings and wealth.